Mia's Magical Learning Adventure in Wonder World. 8-year-old Mia Brightwood was the most curious kid in the whole of Sunbeam Town. Every morning she woke up with the same question: what new thing will I learn today? Mia lived with her mother, father, and her talkative parrot, Pico, who loved repeating strange sentences like, learning is fun, until everyone in the house agreed with him. Mia loved her books, her colorful pencils, and her bright yellow backpack decorated with stickers of stars, numbers, and smiley faces. But more than anything, Mia loved adventures, the kind where she could explore, discover, imagine, and learn. One sunny Saturday morning, something unusual happened. She found a glowing envelope on her study desk. "Who put this here?" Mia whispered. Pico flapped his wings. "Open it! Open it!" Mia carefully tore it open and read, "Dear Mia Brightwood, you have been chosen for a magical learning adventure in the Wonder World, a place where everything you've ever learned comes alive. Pack your curiosity and courage. Your guide will meet you soon. Signed, the Great Keeper of Learning." Mia's eyes widened. A magical world of learning? That sounds amazing. She quickly grabbed her yellow backpack, stuffed it with crayons, a notebook, a pencil, a snack, and a bottle of water, because every good explorer stays ready. Just then, knock! Knock! Mia hurried to the door. Standing outside was, well, something she had never seen before. It was a living, smiling book, a book with big friendly eyes, shiny golden pages for hair, and blue shoes. "Hello, Mia," it greeted warmly. "I am Lexi the book, your guide to the Wonder World." Mia gasped. "A talking book?" Lexi bowed proudly. "A talking, walking, guiding, adventure-leading book. Shall we begin?" "Yes!" Mia shouted excitedly. Pico squawked. Bring me, bring me!" Lexi nodded. The more learners, the better. And with a gentle flip of its pages, Lexi created a swirling portal of glowing letters and shining numbers. "Step through," Lexi said, "and welcome to the Wonder World." Mia, holding Pico, took a deep breath and jumped in. When Mia opened her eyes, she gasped in amazement. They were standing inside a land made entirely of letters. Giant letter A's stood like mountains. Letter B's formed little houses. The clouds were shaped like soft, fluffy seas, floating lazily across a bright blue sky. Rainbow sentences drifted through the air like flying banners. "Wow," Mia whispered. "This is amazing." "This is the land of letters," Lexi explained. "Every child's reading journey begins here." Suddenly, the ground trembled. Boom, boom, boom. Mia hugged Pico tightly. Then from behind a giant letter R, marched an army of dancing alphabet characters. Letter D, wearing a detective hat, spoke first. "Detective D at your service. Welcome to Letterland." The letter S slithered like a snake. "Sess, so good to have you here." Letter M bounced happily. "M for Mia. M for magic. M for munchies." Pico burst out laughing. Lexi clapped its pages. "The letters have been waiting for you, Mia. They want to play a learning game." Mia brightened. "A game?" Detective D nodded. "Yes, one of our letters is missing. Without that letter, many words will lose their meaning." "What letter is missing?" Mia asked. "That," Detective D said dramatically, "is what you must discover." The letters gathered around Mia. "We will give you 3 clues," said letter A proudly. "Clue 1. It is a letter that loves to sing. Clue 2. It is used in many important words like education, celebration, transportation. Clue 3. And it looks like it can spin in a circle." Mia scrunched her face, thinking, "A letter that sings, is in many long words, and can spin." Pico whispered loudly. Suddenly Mia's eyes lit up. "Is it the letter O?" The letters cheered. "Yes, S, S, S." From behind a hill of alphabet blocks rolled a big round O, giggling as it spun in circles. "Sorry, I'm late," O said breathlessly. "I got carried away rolling downhill." The letters hugged O warmly. "And," Detective D turned to Mia. "Thank you for solving the mystery. You understand letters very well." Mia beamed. "I love reading." Lexi's pages fluttered. "And reading loves you." A glowing golden bridge made of sentences appeared. "This will take us to the next learning land," Lexi said. Mia eagerly stepped forward. Crossing the sentence bridge, Mia found herself in a place even more astonishing. Tall towers shaped like rulers, fountains bubbling with glowing numbers, and friendly robots counting things everywhere. This, Lexi announced, is Number Kingdom, the magical home of mathematics. Before Mia could take another step, a loud, deep voice echoed, "Hold it right there." A tall figure made entirely of numbers approached. He wore a crown shaped like a plus sign and carried a staff made of multiplication symbols. "I am King Countwell, ruler of Number Kingdom," he declared. "And you must be Mia, the learner from the human world." Mia curtsied playfully. "Nice to meet you, your numberness." King Countwell chuckled. "We need your help. Our magical river of numbers, the counting stream, has stopped flowing." Lexi leaned toward Mia. "This river gives all Number Kingdom its power. Without it, numbers stop working." Mia gasped. "What happened to the stream?" King Countwell pointed toward a dark cave in the distance. "The Minus Misfits stole the river's power crystals." Mia blinked. "Minus Misfits? Who are they?" Suddenly, 3 tiny creatures popped out from behind a rock. "We didn't mean any harm," the biggest one squeaked. "We just wanted to play a subtraction game." The smallest one sniffled. King Countwell sighed. "They don't understand the importance of balance in math." Mia knelt down to their level. "Do you want to help us fix the river?" The misfits looked at each other and nodded. "Then let's do this together," Mia said warmly. The misfits led Mia, Lexi, Pico, and the Number King to the dark cave. Inside, they found glowing stones labeled with numbers from 1 to 10. "Oh," Mia said. "The power crystals are numbers." King Countwell nodded. "But they must be arranged in the correct order before the river flows again." Mia took a deep breath. "Okay," she said confidently. "Let's fix this." She picked up the 1 stone and placed it first. Then she placed 2, 3, 4, all the way until she reached 10. The crystals lit up in rainbow colors. The cave rumbled. Outside, the counting stream burst back to life, sparkling and splashing happily. "You did it!" King Countwell cheered. The Minus Misfits danced in celebration. Mia felt proud. "You're very good at making things right," King Countwell said. Lexi beamed. "Mia is a learner who doesn't give up." A glowing staircase made of numbers appeared. "This will take us to the next world," Lexi said. Mia eagerly climbed forward. Crossing the sentence bridge, Mia arrived in a place even more astonishing. Splashes of color floated in the air like bubbles. Brushes danced by themselves. Rainbows curled and uncurled over the landscape. A cheerful creature hopped toward them. It was a paintbrush with googly eyes named Brushy. "Welcome to the world of colors and creativity," Brushy chirped. Mia twirled around. "This place is beautiful." Brushy nodded. "But we have a tiny problem." "Well, a big problem. Actually, a huge problem." Lexi braced itself. "What happened?" Brushy pointed at a giant canvas. It was completely blank. Someone erased the great color mural, the magical painting that gives creativity to the whole land. Mia stepped forward. "Then we must recreate it." Brushy gasped. "You'd help?" Mia nodded confidently. "Let's do it." Brushy handed her a magical paint palette. "Each color has a special meaning," Brushy explained. "Red for bravery, blue for calmness, green for growth, yellow for joy, purple for imagination, orange for energy. And you must create a mural using all 6 colors." Mia dipped her brush into red first. She painted a big, bold heart. "That's bravery," she said. Next, she used blue. She painted a peaceful river flowing across the mural. Then green. She painted tall trees bursting with leaves. Yellow, next. She painted a huge, smiling sun. Purple. She added swirling spirals of imagination. And finally orange. She painted joyful children running and laughing. The entire mural glowed brightly. Then it burst into a magical wave of color that spread through the sky like fireworks. Brushy squealed with excitement. "You restored creativity to the land." "Mia, you are amazing." Lexi smiled proudly. Mia has a gift for using everything she learns." A glowing rainbow slide appeared. "This will take us to the final world," Lexi said. Crossing the sentence bridge, Mia landed in a peaceful valley filled with kindness and warmth. Children of all shapes and sizes played together. Animals rested under trees. A gentle breeze carried laughter everywhere. A wise old owl, wearing tiny glasses, fluttered toward them. "I am Professor Hootsworth, guardian of the Valley of Good Values." Mia smiled. "What are good values?" The owl adjusted his glasses. "Values are the important things that guide us. Kindness, honesty, courage, teamwork, respect, At Pico nodded wisely. Kindness, kindness, at Professor Hootsworth sighed. But lately, something has been missing. Kindness is fading, and the valley is losing its sparkle. At Mia frowned. What happened? The owl pointed toward a mountain. At the top lies the crystal of kindness, but it has been dim for days. We need someone pure of heart to relight it. At Lexi tapped at Mia lightly. I think that someone is you. At Mia swallowed nervously. But how do I relight it? At Professor Hootsworth smiled. By completing 3 deeds of kindness. Kindness deed 1, helping a friend in need. As At Mia began her journey up the mountain, she saw a young rabbit trying to carry a basket of apples uphill. Do you need help? At Mia asked gently. The rabbit nodded shyly. They're too heavy for me. At Mia shared the load and walked beside the rabbit until they reached the top of the hill. Thank you, the rabbit said, smiling brightly. A soft glow appeared on At Mia's wrist. 1 deed complete, At Professor Hootsworth announced. Kindness deed 2, sharing with an open heart. Further up, At Mia saw 2 squirrels arguing over 1 acorn while another looked sadly at them. At Mia reached into her backpack and took out her cookies. You can share these, she offered. The squirrels paused, surprised. Then they smiled and shared the cookies happily. Another glow lit up on At Mia. 2nd deed complete, At Professor Hootsworth said. Kindness deed 3, encouraging someone afraid. Near the summit, a little bird was perched on a rock, trembling. What's wrong? At Mia asked softly. I'm scared to fly across this gap, the bird sniffled. At Mia kneeled beside it. I believe in you, she said. You're brave, and I'll cheer for you the whole time. The bird took a deep breath, flapped its wings, and soared across the gap successfully. The final glow shone brightly around At Mia. You have completed all 3 deeds, the owl announced. At the mountain's peak stood the crystal of kindness. It was dull and gray, until At Mia placed her hands on it. It burst into warm golden light, spreading kindness throughout the whole valley. Back at the center of Wonder World, all the characters gathered: Detective D, King Countwell, Brushy, Professor Hootsworth, the Minus Misfits, and many more. At Mia Brightwood, At Lexi announced, you have passed all the challenges of learning letters, numbers, creativity, and values. A glowing medal floated down from the sky. It read, Super Learner. At Mia's eyes sparkled. You have shown courage, curiosity, kindness, and creativity, At Lexi said. But now, At Lexi continued softly, it's time to go home. At Mia felt a mix of joy and sadness. I'll miss you all, she said. At Detective D saluted. Come back any time. At King Countwell bowed. You will always be a friend of Number Kingdom. At Brushy jumped up. Paint with us again. At Professor Hootsworth nodded. Continue spreading kindness. At Lexi opened a swirling portal. Remember, At Lexi said gently, everything you learned here will help you shine in the real world. At Mia hugged At Pico tightly, and together they stepped through the portal. At Mia opened her eyes. She was back in her room. Her yellow backpack was beside her, and the glowing envelope had vanished. Was it real? At Mia wondered. At Pico flapped his wings. Learning is fun. Learning is fun. At Mia giggled. She opened her notebook and gasped. Inside were sketches of the color mural, number crystals, letter characters, and more. It was real. Her heart swelled with joy. She whispered, Thank you, Wonderworld. I'll keep learning every day. And from somewhere far away, a soft voice echoed, We'll be waiting for your next adventure, At Mia.